Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. Parents of Ethan Crumbley were sentenced to prison today. Ethan was responsible for a 2021 school shooting that killed 4 students. A visa policy raising espionage concerns. 2 lawmakers are urging the Biden administration to end what they call a visa loophole. A runaway goat and a peacock sends a Texas police officer on 2 wild chases. We'll take a look at how he caught the animals. First up, in Michigan, James and Jennifer Crumbley, the parents of the teenager who killed the 4 students in the 2021 school shooting in Oxford, Michigan, were each sentenced today to 10 and 15 years in prison, respectively. Both Jennifer and James Crumbley were convicted of involuntary manslaughter weeks ago. The Crumbleys were tried separately earlier this year in connection with the 2021 shooting. Prosecutors said the parents were criminally negligent for providing a gun to their child and for ignoring warning signs of his mental health issues. The parents' defense team argued it was impossible for the parents to envision their son committing a shooting. The mother of one of the victims killed spoke emotionally before the sentencing.
While you were hiding, I was planning her funeral. And while you were running away from your son and your responsibilities, I was forced to do the worst possible thing a parent could do. I was forced to say goodbye to my Madison.
The judge presiding over the sentencing said the decision should be a deterrent to try to stop school shootings in the future. In the landmark case, the Crumbleys became the first parents to be sentenced for a child's school shooting. Now let's take a look at other top headlines. In a historic decision today, the Arizona Supreme Court ruled the state must adhere to a 123-year-old penal code provision barring all abortions except in cases when it is necessary to save a pregnant woman's life. The law, which can be traced to as early as 1864, also carried a prison sentence of 2 to 5 years for abortion providers. The case is the latest high-profile example of the battle over abortion access that has played out across the several states since Roe v. Wade was overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court in 2022. Since that decision, nearly 24 states have banned or limited access to the procedure. Last week, Arizona for Abortion Access, a group of abortion rights organizations, announced it had gathered enough signatures for a November 2024 ballot measure that would ask voters to enshrine abortion rights in the state's constitution. The push is part of an effort to get abortion on the 2024 ballot in several states, a move abortion rights advocates are hopeful will restore some power to voters rather than state courts. The actor and wrestling legend Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says he regrets endorsing Joe Biden for president in 2020 and won't do it again this year ahead of a likely rematch between Biden and Donald Trump. Here's what he had to say in an exclusive interview with the Fox and Friends.
I realize now going into this election, I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't do that because my goal is to bring our country together. I believe in that in my DNA.
Johnson went on to say that he does trust the American people, and whoever they vote for, that's the president he will support 100%. Johnson said he has come to learn that being real and honest is more important than worrying about being canceled. Despite the calls for the actor to challenge President Biden in the 2024 race, Johnson said he was not currently contemplating running for higher office. A visa policy raising espionage concerns. 2 Republican lawmakers are urging the Biden administration to end what they call a visa loophole. It's a 2009 policy that allows Chinese nationals to enter the Northern Mariana Islands, a U.S. territory, without a visa for 2 weeks. The concern is from there, they may be able to enter Guam, home to 2 U.S. military bases. The 2 territories are a little over 120 miles apart. Senator Joni Ernst and Congressman Neil Dunn say this could allow Chinese spies to access U.S. military installations. Ernst told the New York Post that the U.S. must change this visa policy. This comes as a rising number of Chinese nationals are found near sensitive U.S. sites. An illegal Chinese immigrant was arrested this March for breaching a U.S. military base. Chinese nationals have also been caught scuba diving near U.S. rocket launch sites and snapping photos of White House communication gear and guard positions. The Department of Homeland Security has defended the visa policy, saying that no visitor can travel to other parts of the U.S. from the Northern Marianas, including Guam, without a visa. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel will eradicate Hamas brigades, including in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. That's despite pressure, including from the U.S., not to assault the city. The Israeli leader said yesterday that a date has been set for an offensive in Rafah, just days after pulling out of the region. Hamas terrorists said the new Israeli proposal for a ceasefire deal doesn't meet its demands, but added they will respond to the Egyptian and Qatari mediators. Meanwhile, the U.S. military said yesterday it destroyed air defense and drone systems of Yemen's Houthi forces in the Red Sea. There were no injuries or damage reported to commercial or U.S. ships. The Los Angeles Police Department made a slam dunk bust, seizing over $100,000 worth of counterfeit Lakers gear in downtown LA. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
Officers from the Central Division's Vice Bureau confiscated approximately $140,000 worth of illegal Los Angeles Lakers purple and gold merchandise. The LAPD shared images on X of hundreds of fake Laker jerseys and T-shirts. Several vendors with tables and wagons lined the street, selling the counterfeit jerseys and other apparel outside of the arena. They said, "We love sports, but don't like counterfeiting." Today, Central Vice seized over $140,000 in counterfeit Lakers jerseys from an unlawful vendor outside Crypto.com arena. Buyers beware of these poor quality fakes and buy from licensed retailers. It's unclear if any arrests were made. Christina Corona, NTD News, California.
12 individuals from California are now facing criminal charges after state officials say they found a way to cheat the smog check system. NTD's Christina Corona tells us more.
According to the Los Angeles Times, Hassam Hemdan, a Hawthorne resident, initiated the sale of devices dubbed as OBD-nators back in 2015. These gadgets enabled cars to successfully pass smog tests that they would have otherwise failed. Initially priced at $9,500 for early versions, the devices now come with a price tag of around $18,000. However, their technology enabled smog shop operators to charge significantly higher fees, ranging from $120 to $300, in contrast to the typical smog check cost of approximately $50. Federal authorities pressed charges and arrested 12 individuals on Thursday, with investigators obtaining access to a group text involving 35 device operators. The number of cars that illegally passed smog checks is not known. Christina Corona, NTD News.
An officer catches a runaway goat and a peacock all on the same day while patrolling a Texas city. Luckily, both encounters were captured on police body cam footage. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
While patrolling on April 1st, an Irving police officer thought he had encountered an April Fool's prank.
We got the goat.
A goat was seen running around on a road. At first, he tried to coax it with some French fries.
I got him under a trailer.
Then, with help from a backup team, they were able to secure the runaway animal, but not without a photo op first. Shortly after, he was called into a resident's backyard, where none other than an injured peacock was hanging out. With help from the resident, the peacock was safely captured and secured in the back of a patrol car. But again, not without a quick selfie.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. California plans to give money to help first-time homebuyers, but there is a catch. It's a lottery system with additional requirements. Two popular ride-sharing services threaten to leave a Minnesota city next month. Find out what prompted the decision. A college athletics organization bans trans athletes from participating in women's sports. We'll break down the details. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. California is making it easier for first-time homebuyers to put down a down payment. However, there will be requirements for the lottery system.
California is giving up to $150,000 to new homeowners. The requirements are that the borrower must be a first-generation homebuyer, a first-time buyer, and must meet the income limit in the county the buyer is purchasing in. The loan program, called the California Dream for All, offers up to 20% for down payment or closing costs that do not exceed $150,000. This will not be first come, first served. The buyer must register for a voucher to participate in a randomized drawing to decide who will receive the voucher. The website details the steps a person must take to apply for the loan. The program opened on April 3rd and will end on the 29th. This is the second time the state has organized this lottery-based homebuyer assistance program. In 2023, when it was first introduced, it ran out of the $300 million set aside for it in just 11 days. Some people have pointed out that this would make it easier for illegal immigrants to own a home. The program was first introduced by Senate Leader Tony Atkins in 2022 in an effort to address housing affordability.
Uber and Lyft plan to end ride-hailing services in Minneapolis next month following a new ordinance that affects driver pay in the city. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the story.
The threat is a response to a city ordinance that would raise driver pay effective May 1st. If Uber and Lyft follow through, this would suddenly leave residents without a form of transportation they rely on. In March, the Minneapolis City Council passed new rules to bring driver pay in line with the city's $15.57 minimum wage. If there are no alterations, Lyft announced its intention to end operations within the city limits. Uber stated that they will withdraw entirely from the metropolitan area, with the exception of continuing services like Uber Eats. Uber has already closed their only support center in the state, and both companies have begun ending car rental programs for drivers. However, Uber and Lyft suggest a compromise, citing a state report that suggests that rates lower than those in the city's plan could still meet the $15 an hour threshold. State legislators could urgently intervene, potentially overriding the city's ordinance. With the May 1st deadline approaching, the future of ride-hailing services in Minneapolis is uncertain. Christina Corona, NTD News.
One lucky person in Oregon has come forward as the winner of Saturday's $1 billion Powerball jackpot. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the jackpot prize.
Oregon officials said the individual with the ticket matching all 6 Powerball numbers in Saturday's $1.3 billion jackpot came forward Monday to claim their prize. The ticket was sold at a plaid pantry on Columbia Boulevard in Portland, which will also receive a $100,000 bonus for selling the winning ticket. Oregon Lottery Director Mike Wells said in a statement, "This is an unprecedented jackpot win for Oregon Lottery. We're taking every precaution to verify the winner before awarding the prize money, which will take time." The winning numbers drawn early Sunday morning were 22, 27, 44, 52, 69, and the red Powerball 9. With Oregon selling the winning ticket, one resident is hopeful for the next win.
It's just for luck, I mean, anyone can win it, I feel like, now the Oregon won it, then maybe, there's more hope for Oregon. Maybe we'll win it again.
The jackpot offers $621 million in cash if the winner opts for a lump sum instead of a 30-year annuity, compromising an immediate payout and 29 subsequent annual installments. Saturday's winning jackpot was the 4th largest jackpot in Powerball history and the 8th largest jackpot ever won in the U.S. The largest U.S. lottery jackpot won was $2.04 billion in California in 2022. Christina Corona, NTD News.
During this longer cold season, Alaska is seeing more snow than usual. Its largest city is nearing its record snowfall.
Alaska's largest city is close to breaking the record for the most snow ever in a winter season. Snow near the Anchorage International Airport measured 130.5 inches. Alaskans took the heavy snow in stride all winter long, hitting the skis, building a snowman that towered 20 feet tall, and spending a lot of time shoveling. It's only the third time Anchorage has gone over 130 inches in a season. The most snow that Anchorage has ever received in a single calendar year was 171.6 inches in 1955. At Alaska's biggest ski resort, Alyeska recorded about 706 inches of snow on Monday.
Now turning our focus to collegiate athletics. A recent decision by the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics is causing waves in the sports world. NTD's Carlos Reyes has more on the story.
The National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, NAIA, has enacted a groundbreaking policy that restricts transgender athletes from participating in women's sports across its 241 member colleges. This landmark decision, ratified unanimously by the NAIA Council of Presidents, follows intensive deliberations at the organization's annual convention in Kansas City, Missouri. Effective from August, the policy permits all athletes to compete in NAIA-sponsored male sports. However, eligibility for women's sports is limited to athletes assigned female at birth who have not undergone hormone therapy. It's a move hailed by NAIA President and CEO Jim Carr as essential for upholding fairness in competition. Nevertheless, it has ignited a fierce debate over inclusivity and discrimination. Critics contend that the policy undermines the rights of transgender athletes, while advocates argue it's crucial for maintaining competitive integrity. This decision comes amid a backdrop of legal and regulatory turmoil. Just last month, over a dozen college athletes filed a federal lawsuit against the NCAA, contesting its policies on transgender athlete participation. The NCAA, in response to the NAIA's move, reiterated its commitment to fair competition and women's sports investment. Crucially, it's essential to note the NCAA's existing transgender policy, implemented in 2010 and revised in 2022. The current policy mandates transgender athletes undergo hormone replacement therapy for at least 1 year and submit hormone-level tests before competing. Scheduled for full implementation in the 2024-25 school year, it aligns with national and international sports governing bodies. As the NAIA's policy takes effect, all eyes are on the broader implications for college athletics and transgender athlete rights. Carlos Reyes, NTD News.
A story of determination. A British man has just completed one of the longest runs of his life, spanning the entire length of the African continent. He overcame a mountain of hurdles, including getting kidnapped by an armed gang. Here's his story.
This is the moment British extreme athlete Russ Cook finished running the entire length of Africa. He started nearly a year ago in South Africa and logged his final day of running in Tunisia on Sunday.
I knew it was going to be hard, but I knew I was also going into the unknown, so I had no idea really of how hard it was going to be, but it's safe to say that it surpassed all expectations. But there's obviously been a bunch of times where it was very difficult. Sahara Desert, sandstorms, and pushing that mileage up for the last couple of months was really tough as well. But just got to get it done, and the only way out is the end.
Cook can pinpoint his toughest challenge. It wasn't being robbed at gunpoint in Angola or even being slammed by food poisoning. It was getting kidnapped in the Congo by a gang armed with machetes.
The scariest moment was in the Congo when I was on the back of a motorbike thinking I was about to die. Getting driven into the jungle. That was pretty nuts.
In the end, Cook ran nearly 10,000 miles and made it through 16 countries. The 27-year-old raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity and amassed a crowd of supporters who joined him for the trek's final leg. Blake Warren flew in from the U.S.
I saw the post on Instagram where he invited everyone out. I was laying on my couch. I literally got on Skyscanner. I looked for a ticket, and 20 minutes later, I bought the ticket, and here I am. I just couldn't miss a crazy historic opportunity like this.
Cook says motivating others to get off the couch and get active is what his quest was ultimately all about.
It would be awesome to get people moving more. I'm a big believer in sport, changed my life. So I'd love for more people to be, inspired or motivated to go out running or taking part in any kind of sport.
While enjoying a hard-earned rest is on the immediate to-do list, Cook says he isn't hanging up his running shoes just yet.
I've scratched the itch for a while, but I wouldn't be surprised if I start planning some more things pretty soon. I've got a whole list of ideas.
Stay tuned for China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer coming up next. Chinese nationals are setting foot on American soil without visa. Can Chinese spies access military bases in U.S. through a visa loophole? Lawmakers concerned about that butting heads with the Biden administration. More details coming tonight on China in Focus with Tiffany Meyer at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.